Praise the Lord. Once again, God has given us time to hear His word. I'm Stephen Mabiria. We are coming to you from Kisumu Deliverance Church, Sharumoyo, Kisumu City in Kenya. It's a continuation of the sharing we had started on parental, effective parenting. All over the world, parents are crying and struggling how to nurture their children, how to do a parenting of their children. It's a cry all over the world, in Africa, in the USA, both North, Central, and North America, and Europe and Asia. But God has given us a clear way how we can do parenting. As I told you last time, parenting, you can't delegate it to anybody, to a relative, or to a house help, or to anybody else, or to a Sunday school teacher, or to a teacher in school. As long as you are alive, never delegate parenting responsibility. I also told you, parenting is a responsibility given by God. God, the creator of all of us, is the one who has given us this responsibility. It's a special responsibility that God has given us, and we should carry it out effectively. Now, as we look at the Bible, in the book of Proverbs 23, verse 13 and 14, and verse number 22. Proverbs 23, verse 13, 14, and 22. Verse 13. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish him with a rod, he will not die. Punish him with a rod and save his soul from death. Listen to your father who gave you life, who gave you life. And do not despise your mother when she is old. So, the Bible talks of discipline of our children. And last time we looked at, measured on two things that God requires us to instruct our children, as we saw from Deuteronomy 6, verse 6 and 7. We instruct our children. Secondly, we saw that we ought to be a good example, a role model, because children, they observe and they look at you, the way you do things, the way you talk, the way you behave, and they copy. They learn from us as parents of what that we do. So it's good to check your language. And today I will touch on two things on effective parenting. That is discipline. After you have given instructions, that's not enough. After you have given a good example, that's not enough. It ought to be enforced by correction and discipline. As we have read, discipline that is godly will not kill a child, but it will deliver that child from hell, as we have read from Psalms 23, verse 14, verse 13 and verse 14 and verse 22. Correction on a child, it will save that child from hell, because foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. So we have a responsibility to have a discipline to our children. The Bible tells us in the book of Genesis 18:19, where God talks about Abraham. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken of him. See, God is giving a testimony of Abraham that I know him. He will command his children and his household after him. So the Lord requires us to over-discipline or to command our children, to instruct them in his way, so that they may receive the promises of God. Now when you see this, you have said, spare the rod and you spoil the child. So said, use it not on him, and you lay up one for your own back. If you don't over the discipline on your children as God requires, remember, you are waiting for a time when danger will explode out. That's why it says, use it not on him, and you lay up one for your own back. An untrained child means a lawless adult. In our society, we have got many children who are not keeping to the law, held in the whole core, in drugs, in all sorts of evil, violence, robbery. Because when you trace out, you find there is a problem associated with the parenting. Even when you see children are rioting in the universities and the colleges and in schools and even in primary. The time we grew up, children would not riot in the primary. But this time they can do that. Why? Because as parents, we have not given a good example to them. We have not disciplined ourselves to show them how they need to walk in discipline. So they pick from us. So untrained child means a lawless adult. Never make a threat which you have no intention of executing. No promise you do not mean to perform. Remember that for your children to be well informed is good, but for them to be well controlled is better. As a parent, never give a promise you know you're not going to execute, or give a threat of which you have no intention of executing it, or a promise we do not mean to perform, because that will mean they will not take you serious. If you promise, make sure you fulfill that promise. Be a parent of your word. If it's discipline, you say, I want to discipline on this particular area, have it done. And that way they'll take you serious as soon as they grow up. On the area of discipline, pay close attention to the unconscious influences of our child's surroundings. As a parent, you ought to know the surroundings of your children. Study to make the home attractive, not by producing carnal and worldly things, but by noble ideals, by calculating a spirit of selfishness, by genuine and happy fellowship. Separate the little ones from evil associates. As a parent, you need to learn the surroundings of your child and separate the little ones from evil associates. That means you must give time to your children and to know where they are and what they do. Watch carefully the periodicals and books which come into the home, the occasional guest which sits at the table, and the companionship your children form. It's necessary. Mark this as a parent. Never let your children spend a night among strangers. Mark this seriously. Never let your child or your children spend a night among strangers. So train your girls that they will be useful and helpful members of their generation, and your boys that they will be industrious and self-supporting. The fourth principle in effective parenting, prayer for your children. We see, even if you offer instructions, give a good example, give discipline, without prayer, all this will fail. Prayer will back all things, because you are calling upon God to intervene, to effect, to bring to success all your labor in nurturing your children. Prayer is very crucial. That's why we see one man who was so rich in the Bible, who has got a good record, who loved God and feared God. was a man of prayer who was concerned of his family. Job 1, verse number 5. We read, last part of it. Job rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. This man Job, he had 10 children, but he sacrificed daily. He took cover of his children daily. He never took chances. And he did that one for each one of them. Never say, I don't have time for my children. Spare time for them. Spare time for each one of them. Pray for them in the morning. Pray for them in the evening. I know this, it works. These are the principles I know. They work all over the world if you can apply them. Pray for them. Call upon God. Ask God to watch over them, to take care of them. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord prosper you. In Jesus' name.